So as I said in the other video, we're going to look at how we can produce this type of a list. We're going to look at how we can produce, say, a catalogue of items, as we've got here. So what we want to do that means we're going to have to split our split our list up into different things. Now, if we have a look at our raw file, fruit.txt, we see that this is our file. So this is what you've got to be able to show, or rather, this is what you're working with. We can see that we've got our different items, and when we use this for loop, where is it? Files and lists. When we use this for loop, what happens is that we are taking every one of these lines and we're converting it to an individual element in the array. So, or in the list. I keep calling them arrays. I learned them as arrays. Python calls them lists. Doesn't matter. So this is the first element in the list. This is the second, and this is the third. That's what we've got happening there. Now, what we want to do, we want to be able to split these up, because as you see, when we run our software, we see it doing this. So let's run it again just so you can see it. So run this. So it's putting it out like this. And then also when we print out the individual items, it does it like this. And then when we say, I want to buy item number 1, it says we are buying apple 5 like that. It's not actually meaningful to the user. It works as far as the software is concerned, it does a good job, but it's not meaningful for the user. What types of things will be meaningful for the user? If we said, here is what we're selling, here's the name of the fruit, banana, here's the price. Here's the name of the fruit, an apple, here's the price. So in order to achieve that, what we have to do is we have to split our list. And we do that a couple of different ways. So first thing we've got to do is, I'm going to go into the index file, and I'm going to say, we're going to take our different fruits. So we've got 3 types of fruits. I'm saying fruit 1, fruit 2, and fruit 3 become fruit list. So they become fruit list. Now what that does is it takes every element in the fruit list and kind of turns it into its own list. So it's kind of like what's happened there. And then from there is what we can do is now we can print, say, fruit 1, and we're going to do the rest of it as well. We're going to see what this does. 2 and fruit 3. Fingers crossed it works. Okay, I want to buy a banana. Okay, so here's what it's done. So it's printed out the individual things. So it's done what it's done here. So we're seeing the same output, but that's being generated differently. It's being originally, or the first time, it was generated with this. Now it's being generated with this. So what we've got now is like we've got each of these is an element, or rather, we've got that in itself. So now what we want to do is we want to split, literally split, and that's the command we're going to use. We're going to split that up. So we're going to split this up, and we're going to split this up, and then this. And let's see the code for that. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to say fruit 1 info. And once again, this is a variable. I'll call this whatever I want. Fruit 1 dot split. And if we have a look, we're going to split wherever we see a semicolon character. So what that's going to do is now it's going to split, it's going to split fruit 1 into fruit 1 info, which is a list again, which has 2 separate elements. One element is the name, the other one is the price. So I'm going to take that and do 3 times. So this is fruit 2, fruit 3, fruit 2, fruit 3, and then we're going to see this in action. I'm going to say print fruit 1 info. And do the same thing. So 2 and 3, and I'm going to run this. Fingers crossed it works. So I should be seeing more lists being produced at the very end. Okay, multiply by number 1. So here we have now the lists have been split up. So we have banana is now a separate entry, apple is a separate entry to its price, and orange is a separate entry to that. Whereas before, we looked at originally, they were part of the same cell, also part of the same element or index, whatever you'd like to call it. So that's what we've got there. Now what that means is that we can now make this a little bit more user friendly, and so it'll look like this now. We can have tongue-tied. We can make it look like this because we've split it up. We can make it look like this. So for any comparisons or adding or incorporating or anything like that, we can leave it as what we've got. But for what the user wants to see, you want to see things in a little bit better, in a better way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say print. We're going to put a thing in. We're going to say fruit name. Fruit name. I'm going to say plus, and I'm going to say fruit 1 info. And I'm going to open this up and I'm going to say 0. Now I'm saying 0 because, as we mentioned in the past, this is the 0th element is this. That's the 0th element in this list. The first element, or the 1th element, is this. The 0th, 1th. 0th, 1th. I'm not saying first because first is the first thing. So then I'm saying that plus. So I'm saying fruit name, fruit 1 info. And I'm going to say plus. Price. Color P, price. Close that off and say plus. Fruit 1 info. And I'm going to say instead of 0, I'm putting in 1 because I'm referencing that index. So I'm going to do that for the rest of them. I'm going to change the fruit 2 and fruit 3. Fruit 2 and oops. I'm making a mess of it. Fruit 1, fruit 2, fruit 3. And now I'm going to say, here I'm going to say print fruit for sale. So I can work in a grocers. Okay, so that's what we've got there. Now, fingers crossed it'll all work. Okay, let's see. I want to buy a banana. Hopefully now you see why it's not actually picking banana, it's picking orange. Or apple rather. Okay, so here we go, fruit for sale. So that is how we go about putting out a catalogue. So for these skills that we've got here, I'll just go over this. So what we've got is we've got something called, so we are reading a file, we are creating a list of fruit, we are creating a list for the bag. We are adding every line of this file, we are putting it in line by line into our fruit list. Then we're printing the fruit list to make sure we've imported it correctly. Then here we're printing out each element in the fruit list on its own line. Then we're asking the user what they want to buy. Then the user is basically picking up an item here. So take an item, they're choosing from the fruit list whatever their choice was. We're then seeing what that item is, so we're just making sure that this is what we wanted, and we saw that there was a problem with that, but anyhow we got that sorted. Then we're printing out the bag showing that it was empty. Then we're adding the item to the bag. From there we're printing out, once again we're printing out exactly what was there 2 lines before, but now we're seeing what's actually in the bag. Then from there what we're doing is we're taking the fruit list and we're breaking that up into 3 sublists, if you want to call them sublists. Then they get printed out here. So what this does, it breaks up every line of the fruit list, puts it into its own list. Then we split up each of those individual fruit lists. And it splits it up by searching for this. And it splits it up into their own elements. Then we printed that out again just to have a look, and everything is printed out separately. from there now, what this allows us to do is the 0 gives us the 0th element, and 1 gives us the 1th element, or rather 0 gives us the 1st element, and 1 gives us the 2nd element, if we're speaking in human. So that's the way we go through that. Your task will be something similar to this. If there's any questions, let me know.